Hello, hello, and welcome back to Divine Journey 2. Last time we progressed through Britannia enough to upgrade our setups for just about everything, including passiving the creation of anything we make with the mana pool, a significant upgrade to our runic altar autocrafting setups, the ability to autocraft Terrasteel and stuff through the Alfheim gateway, as well as making our blood altars up to tier 5, I believe. I think that was last time, which let us craft our first purified tablets. In between episodes, I did a little bit of work around the base. Over here in the new passive wing, we added a couple things here. Things like light gray concrete powder and light gray concrete for neutral reagents for defensive cores. These are used in cracked runic plates, which are for purified tablets, so I wanted to get those certainly done. I added a few more inscribers on this wall for things like imbued slates, so that we can actually autocraft with these and not have to do it manually. I also added weak blood shards to the wall here. We don't yet have fully passive demonic slates because we haven't passived slate production yet. But if we can just throw demonic slates into our blood altar way over there and then toss them into the system every so often, that's good enough. It reminds me I need to set up an inscriber recipe for these as well. There we go. So now the only things truly preventing us from auto-crafting these are the creation of elemental soils for our aqueous and magmatic soils and the like. We need to have a naming thing for these last clean runic plates, and we need 2 passive ethereal slates. But otherwise, having these on request is still quite good. They're not passive, but I don't think we need passive purified tablets. I looked through these before and we don't need them all the time. It's a lot of gizmos that use these things as well as being upgraded. So for the most part, I'm okay with having these on request. We also put the next 4 steps of machine casings on passive. So we now have enhanced machine parts, machine cases, machine frames, and iron casings on passive. This doesn't change very much math for us, but it makes something like requesting a ranged collector take only a couple seconds now. Like that was uncut, which is nice. It's always nice to have things done a little bit faster. And the last thing I did was I started to break a little bit of ground out here. I'm not sold on this block palette. I like it, but I'm not sure if I really like it. We don't have a whole lot going on out here yet, but if nothing else, it's fine. We can change it because the exchanging gadget's a wonderful little thing. We're probably going to be spending a lot of time out here today because for today, I would really like to start mystical agriculture. There's a number of things we can get from mystical agriculture that are very important to our overall game plan of what's going on here that we don't really have a robust source of yet, or a number of things that, with mystical agriculture, will make our lives a lot easier. For example, these are all the seeds we technically have access to at this moment. Something like nature seeds will be very helpful because that will let us auto-craft lily pads at a very impressive rate. Ice seeds will be particularly helpful for aerogel. We have a lot of this stuff currently, but that supply isn't going to be infinite. Rubber seeds are going to be really good because we technically don't really have a very good source of plastic yet. Sulfur seeds, much of the same. We don't really have a great source of this at the moment, so it's just going to be nice to have an infinite amount of this. The same is vaguely true for grains of infinity, but not that much. Mystical flower seeds is actually something I'm very excited for. These let us create the 1 tall mystical flowers, which is great because these things look gorgeous and I want to decorate with them. Another very important one is basalt and coal seeds. These will let us make a bitumen and tar, which means we can make our dark ingots completely passively now. We were actually kind of running a little low on these. We're not at 0 by any means, but we're a little bit closer to 0 than I would like to be. And probably the main one here is, of course, Hope Graphite. This stuff is moderately expensive at 8 coke dust a pop, especially for how cheap it is to make ingots from essence. And it's used pretty frequently in things like the crystal growth accelerators for a lot of the AE2 stuff, or industrial grade graphite ore for all of our mana diamonds. So a passive source of this will be very nice. Even something like wood seeds has use to us, honestly. Being able to make some of these saplings that we don't have access to is going to be really handy. In particular, some of these we actually just haven't touched ever because we haven't been to, say, the Twilight Forest or Erebus yet. So something like robust Twilight Oak saplings could be really interesting, or the Tree of Transformation or Miner's Trees. But the one I'm most excited for is the Rainbow Oak because these leaves are so darn pretty. It's a lot of decoration is what's pushing me towards this, but it's not all decoration. Anyway, we have to start back here at chapter 16 because we haven't actually looked very much into this chapter at all. Notably, it says here that we actually can't duplicate seeds that we create yet, so I think I'm just not going to for the time being. What I mean by that will become self-evident soon enough, but for now, I've had 9 tier 1 crafting seeds sitting in the Zender crafter for about 4 episodes now that I just kind of kept leaving in the background. The main 6 that we have up here are the ones that the quest recommends us to make, and these are probably the most important 6 in my opinion, at least for right now. Most of these are pretty simple. They just take whatever they make. For example, Grains of Infinity seeds takes Grains of Infinity, just a lot of it. The only different ones are nature seeds, which take these nature clusters, which are pretty easy, and water seeds, which is also very easy. So let's get into crafting. You want to know something hilarious, actually? These nature seeds are going to be our first actual sugarcane farm. We may also remove our cactus farm, just because this seems very strong compared to what we have. But we actually haven't made a sugarcane farm this entire run, really. We had like a manual one at some point right over there, but it was very small and very bad because it was manual. In case you've been wondering where we've been getting all of our sugar this run, it's been this bad boy right here, grinding up rice. Did you know rice makes sugar? I didn't either, but I needed it for rocket fuel way back when, and I didn't have a good sugarcane farm at the time. Or rather, a good way to farm sugarcane. Whoa, we get the last of our Tier 1 seed quests. So to make our Tier 2 seeds, we need Prudentium Essence, which requires an infusion crystal. So our first one, it was obviously gated by Terrasteel. So we need Prosperity Shards, Terrasteel, and Mana Diamonds for these. I don't know how many of these we're going to need. They have, 1,000 uses, or at least this one does. But we also don't need probably 1,000 Prudentium at the moment. So let's just make the one for now. So next we can make Prudentium, which is an unmodified recipe, it looks like. Thanks! We'll just make as much as we can. We're by no means short of Inferium, and I don't see a reason for us to be short of Prudentium anymore either. So now we can make Tier 2 crafting seeds, which take 8 Prudentium in a Tier 1. The quest recommends us making at least 8 of these, so I'm going to make 16 because I imagine some of these quests probably have a couple seeds per quest. And if nothing else, we'll use them for Tier 3. So while all this stuff is crafting, because it's going to take a brief eternity, let's talk about how I plan on farming all of these. Garden cloches. If you're not familiar, these are basically like single block as much as you can get with immersive engineering, single block farming stations that are pretty fast. They're pretty good, which was why they've been gated by Prudentium up until this point. But Prudentium, as you may have found out, is now attainable to us. Now these garden cloches aren't going to hold a candle to agricraft, but we also can't hold the candle to agricraft ourselves until like chapter 24 or something. Yeah, I believe it's way down here at the very, very tail end of chapter 22, which is still a fair ways away, and I'm not going to sit on these forever. So we're going to make like a stack of these. Well, half a stack. The soul glass is pretty easy, just glass and soul saint. This is free. The vacuum tubes are just stuff with an engineer's blueprint. All of this stuff is either on passive or auto craftable, so again, just about free. Treated wood is on passive, once again free, and a tiny bit more expensive than free. So 32 of these should be pretty easy. I don't feel a need to make a recipe for each seed individually, but I definitely feel a need to make a recipe for Prudentium. So here's our garden cloches. Yoink. What? Oh, I forgot to put these in. I said yoink. And now we can see the rest of these recipes. They recommend some of these mob seeds. We probably won't bother with these for the most part. Sulfur and saltpeter, we will definitely be making both of these. Rubber for sure. Mystical agriculture, again, very good for a few reasons. Hope graphite, of course. Fire and nether seeds have some uses. Fire for aerogel, of course. Nether seeds will actually be our first source of netherrack, so those are going to be a must-have as well as cincinnassite later. We may also make these skystone seeds because we're actually a little bit low on skystone, and if we do need more controllers, well, it'll be good to have these. Sneak peek, I plan on making some more controllers. Oh, I just realized I actually forgot to talk about the docket today. The docket is, of course, mystical agriculture. Over in the Dark Realm, I would like to create a sub-network of our ME system. I would like to have deep storage for all of our essences that we make over there, and have them all export into crafters with a finished product storage as well, in addition to the essence storage. And then after that, if we have time, I would like to do the set of rainbow quartzes for the purple tablets. And then if we've got the time, we'll look into the Gaia Guardian. So for the most part, each of these seeds also seems pretty straightforward, just what they use, or what they make rather. The difference for some of these being the clusters. For nether, it looks very different than what I'm used to. Double compressed netherrack and a dark solarium each, well, 2 of each rather, is, again, not too bad for what it's worth. And these mystical flower clusters actually request the tall versions of each of these flowers, so we don't even have to make more floral fertilizer, which is nice. So again, we'll do some crafting and I'll see you back shortly. So I've collected all the seeds I plan on using, at least for right now. And if we need more, I'm sure I'll make it, rather than just, sitting in my sadness and not making it. So this stuff is all well and good, but we don't actually have a way to hook up our ME system to what's in the Dark Realm yet. For that, we need to head back here to Chapter 13 and discuss the Quantum Ring. So we use these to make a quantum bridge, which lets us transport the system between dimensions, or, just over distance in general, but between dimensions is the most important part. So we need 8 of these rings and 1 link chamber, as well as a pair of quantum entangled singularities. These aren't too bad. We do need to make 2 sets of these, so we'll need 2 link chambers and 2 rings. Well, 16 rings. So we'll set a few patterns for those. But in addition, we need a singularity, not to be confused with the ones we'll be making at the end of the pack, but these ones here. So we need a 64k storage component, as well as 64,000 just items. Oh, my mistake, 256,000 items. We'll be using cobblestone, unsurprisingly. So we need a matter condenser, which is also not too hard for us. I believe what we can do with this is just hook it up to the system. Oh, we don't actually even need to hook this up to the system. No, that's fine. We'll use an import bus here, requesting cobblestone, of course, and put that right into here. And we want to condense into singularities. This should be an export bus. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there. Yeah, so it's filling up, but not particularly fast. I wonder if I just slap more connections if it'll be faster. Now, that's certainly better. That's still probably gonna take a while though. Well, I guess I'll just, be here until then. Alright, so I got a couple singularities, some ender dust like the quest tells me to do. Oh, that's not what I want to throw. And it just says blow it up with TNT. I don't know if a creeper statue would work, but it might. I mean, that worked. Oh, did it make 2? Oh, thought I would have needed 2 singularities for this. Well, I guess if I ever need another link bridge, I have it. Speaking of, I don't know how much of that was recorded with my video paused, but for whatever it was, I put this here, down below the auto-crafting stuff up there. And so if I put a terminal here, does this work? It says it's using a channel. Maybe it needs power? Well, the wiki tells me it does need power, so let's put this here, and this here. Now are we happy? Ooh, lights turn on. Yeah. So if we want to really sub-network this, it might be best to just have like a storage bus down here somewhere with an interface then. That said, we can't exactly get rid of this terminal right now, so we should probably build up some area around here, and I'll catch you back when I've got something more to show in that regards. Alright, so it's been a little bit since the last cut. I got the ME system hooked up down here. We're doing another standard subnetwork, nothing too big because I don't imagine we're going to need anything too big. All the channels are going to be moved across either gray or black, and then all our actual devices on this network are going to be on white. And over here is where we have all of our garden cloches set up. Cloche? Cloche?
Cloche. Cloche.
Google tells me the American way is cloche, so I'm right. Here's where we have all our cloches set up. I haven't put in all the seeds yet because I wanted to save that for on-camera stuff rather than just a bunch of stuff off-camera where I'm like, wow, look, I'm back and all the drawers are filled. I did put in basalt, however, because we do want basalt if we use it for building here, and I wanted to get that started immediately. So what we have here are cables hooked up to the top. They accept power from the top and from the sides here, but I don't really want to run cables through the walkway. We have water being supplied through the bottom because they can accept from the bottom. And we have the cloches facing inwards towards each other, because if they were facing forward, then we'd have the issue of cables in the walkway again. So they're facing towards each other so that the cables can go down instead. And they feed into here, that just leads into the controller over here. We have a power cell and an unending bowl here for power and water purposes, because the cloches need power and water. And then at the bottom here, we have a P2P connection running into the storage bus here. Well, we don't actually have a P2P connection yet, but now we do. Or now we're going to, rather. Like that. So now if we were to look at this network here, we would have basalt essence, which means we should have basalt essence in our main network. So I'm going to put some seeds into the rest of these cloches, and we'll come back in just a second. Oh yeah, all these essences are coming in really nicely now. This is really good. I suppose I should probably bring the docket over here, huh? Alright, so looking at the docket here, we do have mystical agriculture, kinda. We do have the subnet, that's for sure. We have some essence storage of what we plan on storing right now. And now we need to get some crafters to going. Because as much as we do want this storage of essences, we also obviously want the finished product. We don't want to make that on demand. That feels like a waste. I will upgrade these once, should be fine. So I think out there is where we're going to put the rest of our mystical agriculture stuff once we get to AgriCraft unlock. So I don't think I want to continue out that way today. I think over there is where I'd like to do Essentia automations, so I don't think I'm going to go that way, which leaves us going this way, which I kind of do like. I like how this is sort of an open area that's not particularly large, but gives us a little bit of an enclosed vibe. Yeah, I'll probably think about where to put all this stuff for a little bit, and then I'll come back once I've got some stuff put down and am ready to go and show off some more, progress. So I extended out this way a little bit. I added a little garden here with a new rainbow oak that we were able to create with our nature essence. I think it looks nice, and it's a nice spite to the old ones. So we want to take these essences and automatically craft anything that we would, want passively from them. Some things we can leave on request only, like mystical flower essence. Like, we don't really need to passively make any of the mystical flowers. We're only going to ever want these on demand, so we don't have to worry about any recipes involving this at all. Comparatively, something like Hope Graphite, we are going to want to passively make Hope Graphite ingots, so we do want to keep this as a crafter here. So I just gotta see basically every recipe I want to make with these things, and then put sequential fabricators or crafters or whatever down for them. So a little bit of parsing later, and I think we want about 18 recipes worth of crafters here, which is not a small number, but it's not too bad. We can request 18 sequential fabricators. So here's what we've got so far. Pretty box standard down here so far. Just a couple interfaces going into the sequential fabricators up there. We can just have a bunch of requests here. So most of the filters are set. We just have one problem, which is that we have two problems. See, both bitumen and tar require flint and slime balls. We don't make these over here, so we need this dark system to read from the main system. So for that, we're going to use another interface. So now what this should do is, because this net has a storage bus onto this interface, which connects to our main one, this white interface should be able to access any contents within our red net. And because the red net is here on the white one, vice versa, you can already see we see all the essences in here, which means we should be able to request flint and slime balls in here. And so with all the filters set, we should be able to just turn these on, and we should be crafting. Set to round robin, it looks like these should distribute a little bit more evenly now. And so we are now producing passive aerogel, grains of infinity, hope graphite, sulfur, basalt, marble, netherrack. We should probably get a compacting drawer for that one. Skystone, bitumen, tar, cocoa beans, lily pads, sugarcane, cactus, pumpkins, melons, and tiny dry rubber. And I feel very confident leaving all these drawers completely as is. Some of these concern me the tiniest bit, like all of these up here that require so much nature essence. Things like pumpkins might take a long time to fill up this buffer, especially at 8 nature essence a pop, but it's all completely passive, so that's fine. We'll add 2 more stations just to fill out the wall, cover up our mess, add some cable facades. Let's remember to load our chunks, and that should be all of that stuff passived. Easy peasy. Which means we can cross this, which means we can cross that off our docket, and thus all of mystical agriculture for the time being. We've got a little bit of time left in the episode, so let's do the rainbow quartzes. So we need all 6 of these colors, and each of these colors takes the previous. So we use mana quartz to make blaze quartz, to make red, to make sunny, to make elven, etc. So I'm thinking we can set these up over here, because this is where we have a lot of our fluid stuff already being done. So to start with, blaze quartz seems pretty easy. It's just mana quartz and firewater, and we already make firewater. We'll put a fluid interface here, request our firewater. We'll have this one extract on orange. We'll steal this power connection over here, and now we have blaze quartz. We'll just buffer this to 1 stack. Next is red quartz, which is just a induction smelter recipe of blaze and vertis. We have passive vertis already, so this is also pretty easy. And there's passive red quartz. Next up is sunny quartz, just another fluid transposer with stuff we already make. We'll have this one extract on yellow, and now we're making sunny quartz. So here's the trickier one. As for elven quartz, we need to do elven trade, and we also need terrasteel nuggets, which means we need to probably passive terrasteel, and of course this recipe in general. Which is fine, I have new ideas. I have many new ideas. Here's the new setup with a fresh pair of eyes. I learned that you can actually use a mechanical user to place things on top of the agglomeration plate, which makes this much easier. We're still using the impulse hopper because this thing still works at a very perfect interval with this basic capacitor here. The difference now is that we have a level emitter here, only extracting when this signal is active, and it's only active when we have less than a stack of terrasteel in the system. We'll just have our terrasteel buffered here, and as you can see we have 99 terrasteel, but if we were to take some out to go below a stack, it pushes in 1 at a time because we have a limited item filter into the phantom face below, and it works just fast enough, or rather just slow enough, to prevent us from double crafting, provided we have enough mana to sustain the supply. It'll usually make 1 or 2 extras, but that's okay. We're always going to use this stuff anyway, so there's no big deal. But of course, that's only half the process to Elven Quartz. We still need to passive putting the Sunny Quartz and the Terrasteel into the trade. So here's the rough idea of the setup I've made, and I know it's a bit much. So the idea we have here is that each of these interfaces is requesting 2 items, or rather 2 recipes to send through the Elven portal up there. In this case, this one has mana steel and mana pearls. This top conduit requests the first recipe in the slot, and this side one requests the second. We have level emitters here for the item that the recipe makes. In this case, this pulls mana steel from this interface, and this is level emitted by Elementium. So if we have less than a stack of Elementium, this will turn on, which will only take mana steel and put it into this phantom face here, which will put into this precision dropper, but we'll only put in up to 2 mana steel at a time because we don't want to overfill the buffer and clog the dropper. So far, this has actually worked surprisingly well while I've been doing this. All of our buffers are filled except for the item for which the reason we did this all for. That's probably proper English. I'll probably set up some drawers around here at some point just to make it all look nice rather than storing it all on drives, even though on drives is currently fine for the time being. But basically all we have to do is apply a whitelist for Sunny Quartz and Terrasteel, and filter Sunny Quartz and Terrasteel here, and we're already spitting out Elven Quartz everywhere. Apply it to this filter here, and we're already getting a lot. Now we just need a way to actually put the stuff from here back into these interfaces. I'll just run a conduit through the back here for right now. And so for no other reason than it looks nice, we'll have Elven Quartz buffered here. Last step, it's a deceptively tricky one. We need to take our Elven Quartz and alliums. Now the thing about alliums is that, well, there's no real recipe for these necessarily. We can run these through an alchemy catalyst with a blue orchid, which we can do with poppies, which we can do with dandelions, which we can do with peonies, which we can grow. So regrettably, we're going to have to do another mana pool stack. But this one gets to be on top of an alchemy catalyst. We need 1 to make dandelions, 1 to make poppies, 1 to make blue orchids, and 1 to make alliums. So 4 steps, but I actually do want to set up a 5th and 6th one. Number 5 for name tags. We actually don't have a source of these yet, and I want more. And number 6 for mystical tablets. I don't know if we need to passive these, but, you know, better safe than sorry, I suppose, at this point. Would you believe this? I actually overcomplicated this severely initially. We don't actually need a dropper for each flower. We can just leave the flower there until it becomes an allium, which is what we're doing now. Also, doesn't this look so much better than the other one? Like, it's so much more open. I really like how the drawers kind of are behind the glass there. We don't really need to have direct access to them. It looks really nice. I'm really fond of it. And if we throw a bunch of books and quills in here, we should also get some name tags. Yeah, all right. Big fan of that. And we buffered our stack of alliums, which means we can come over here. And now we have passive, what is this? Purple quartz? Lavender quartz. Bam. Quartzier quartz tiering. So that detour was pretty nice. We passived Terrasteel and Alfheim, so that's good. Let's see what we unlocked for ourselves. So we use this Metamorphosis, it looks like, which is not too bad to make. And we can turn it into these metamorphic stones. Ooh, some of these actually look very pretty. Oh, I'm getting caught again with the things look pretty again beam. We'll probably replace one of our living rock daisies with this. I assume it works the same way at least. So now we gotta replace all of these filters underneath this pure daisy with some normal old stone. We can swap out this pure daisy for a metamorphosis, get rid of this living rock, and then I think it should just turn it into the metamorphic stuff over time, I imagine. Oh, maybe this needs mana actually. That would be kind of awkward to try and fit here. Oh yeah, no, it just definitely needs mana. Wow, that is fast. Well, let me get a mana spreader for this then. I'll have no fear. I have a plan for these things. What? Oh, you can just take it? You don't need it like spread to you? You can just have it? Oh, I had like a mana spreader down here, but if it can just like do that, well, I mean, it does transform it. My new question is, why isn't that putting it into these drawers here? Because it does get broken, it just like puts it into that. Or like sometimes it picks it up, but sometimes it doesn't. I'm very confused by this. Yeah, I've kind of been just playing with this for a while, and for some reason it's just not picking these up. Like sometimes when I mine them it picks it up, but not super commonly. And also it doesn't just, you know, grab them like it should. It's very strange. Well, anyway, we got about a stack and a bit of the stuff. So next we have access to these purple tablets. Oh, listen to our words as we summon the one and only Savior. That's 3 letters. That's certainly wretched. That's 100% wretched. TCHED. 100% wretched. No one says listen to me as we summon the, and it's not the word wretched. That's gotta be wretched. This feels scary. Do I have to? Don't. Well, this seems pretty doable. I don't know how many of these we need, so I'm gonna start with like 4? Maybe we should have put lavender quartz in a compacting drawer. Well, for the time being, we'll just do this manually. So 4 purified tablets, 4 blocks of elementium, 4 blocks of lavender quartz, and 4 metamorphic stone gives us 4 of these magical tablets. And we get a wither skeleton skull. That's nice. So these Gaia pylons seem pretty doable. I think we need 4 of these, so it'd be another 12 magical tablets and some dragonstone. We could also make these crystal clusters, which take demon blood shards, magical tablets, and stuff we've made before. They're not too bad. I think for a tier 6 altar we need 16 of those, which is not cheap, but it's not the worst thing in the world by any means. Apparently this is the last step to becoming a true blood god. I wonder what fits in 6 characters there. I bet it's Stinky. I bet that's the one true Stinky. So looking ahead, it looks like we need 16 magical tablets, 4 crystal clusters, and 16 magical tablets for 4 Gaia pylons. And that is not quite something we can do at the moment. We need to increase our offensive backlog, we need to actually automate the elemental soils and stuff, we need to increase our iridium glass backlog, simple catalysts, salic soil, dreadium shields, swords, crepitus. We need to get a bunch of ethereal slates, which we have some, and that's not too bad to get. But that's just for making purified tablets, because then we need a bunch more of the lavender quartz and elementium. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to put out a lot of these fires off camera, and then we'll come back next time and probably just immediately knock these 2 things out. We'll do a quick fight with the Gaia Guardian, unlock our stellar stuff, or I guess our stellar tools more specifically, become a blood god, I guess, then get our rainbow tablets, which naturally leads into the best mod in the pack. But of course, with me discussing plans for next time, that will take us until next time. Bit of a shorter one today, but I still think we did a lot. We started and brought mystical agriculture all the way up to tier 2, and we now have all of those things being passively made. For example, look at all this hope graphite we now have. We crafted an additional 4 tiers of quartzes, made some metamorphic stone, which unlocked our magical tablets for the making. And we unintentionally passived Terrasteel and Alfheim, which is good because we didn't do that last time because I was mad. Anyhow, I hope to catch you next time for once we inevitably finish off Botania, Blood Magic, and start Thaumcraft. Ooh, you know I love me some Thaumcraft. I mean, look at me. Do I look like the kind of person who would love Thaumcraft? The answer is yes. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Consider leaving a like or a comment if you'd like, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye bye.